I think Nintendo at this point, considering everything that we're going to talk about, has definitively shut down a lot of the naysayers and people that were sitting here trying to tell you that the Nintendo Switch 2 is failing, that there's a ton of buyer's remorse, that it's sitting on store shelves, that it's fading away, that people don't want it, that dropped the price, like all that stuff that was happening. It definitely seems to be something that was just a vocal minority on the internet. And like I said before, Nintendo Switch 2 grifters looking to make as much money as possible before the facade is broken, before the lies are kind of just teared apart. And guys, this is what it's about. It's about getting the actual truth, okay? And Nintendo has stated the sales numbers, and for the first 4 months, because this really is only for 4 months, when it comes to it, Switch 2 just launched in June. The numbers here that we're going to go over is to the end of September at this point, so it does not include Pokemon Legends ZA and that bundle that it just came out that's been doing really good. And Nintendo Switch 2 is already at 10.36 million. It is only about 3 million away from the total of the Wii U in the first 4 months overall. That right there just shows you an incredible selling power, something that we quite haven't seen from Nintendo before. This is by far their fastest selling system, the fastest selling system overall with it, because 10.36 million in just about 4 months, June, July, August, September. I mean, it's really just about 4 months of sales, and it's already at that. That is absolutely insane. Now, the Nintendo Switch 1, just to kind of round this out before we get to some of the other stuff, that is right there. It's almost Nintendo's best-selling system of all time. It's at 154.01 million. The Nintendo DS is the best-selling Nintendo system of all time, and that's at 154.02 million. So it's going to hit it in the next quarter. Next time that we get the sales numbers later down the line, we are going to see that the Nintendo Switch 1 has become Nintendo's best-selling system of all time. It's already crazy when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2. That's awesome, and that did really good, and we're going to circle back around to that. Now, here's another incredible thing overall, guys. Donkey Kong Bananza is at 3.49 million. That is more already in just the first 2 months on sale or something like that. More than Astrobot, and that is more than every single Metroid game's individual release. That is the craziness of Donkey Kong Bananza. It is selling incredibly well, and Nintendo tacked on this, which they said this along with Mario Kart World, which we're going to talk about the sales in just a bit with that game, but they also said that both titles are growing steadily overall with the sales. So it's not just stopping right there. Donkey Kong Bananza continues to do well as people are picking it up as a true individual system seller type of game. Now, with the Nintendo Switch 2 at 10.36 million, Donkey Kong Bananza at 3.5 million, that is a good percentage tie-in sales ratio or attach rate for this type of game, a game that some people felt wouldn't do as good as it did. Now, I thought it was going to do around 2 million or so. I did not expect 3.5 million before the big holiday season. Don't be shocked if this game does over 6-7 million units by the end of the year, as people are looking to pick up the Nintendo Switch 2 and they want the best individual exclusive for the system. I think Donkey Kong Bananza is a strong case for that. From the Mario team, good marketing, good placement, good everything, good review scores, should get Game of the Year nods from some places, should get nominated in lots of places. I think Expedition 33 is going to win it at most places, but I still think that Donkey Kong Bonanza will be nominated, therefore getting more publicity from various different outlets overall. So that is incredible to see that, and shows that Nintendo, they can take their franchises and turn it into something incredible, because nobody was expecting Donkey Kong Bonanza to sell 3.5 million units in the first number of months. That is just a wild number, with the holiday still coming up and it being the premier 90 plus Metacritic must buy rated game overall. So that is definitely a good thing, and I'm very happy to see how well that game has done, and people just really enjoying it. I put 50-60 hours plus into it. It's phenomenal. If you haven't picked it up, definitely get it for Christmas, or if you can get it for your birthday, or if you can save up and get it yourself or trade in to get it, it is that good. So very happy to see that that's going well, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get more Donkey Kong in the future. Now let's talk about the other half of this, because we have the other big game million seller plus, and that was Mario Kart World. That sold 9.57 million, and Nintendo said that sales are steadily growing alongside with Donkey Kong. Now this game is bundled with the Nintendo Switch 2, so that is a really high attach ratio overall. If you look at it, 10.36 million units sold, 9.57 million units sold of Mario Kart World, so less than a million units in terms of people overall in the whole world with the Nintendo Switch 2. With over 10.36 million, there are less than a million people that have a Nintendo Switch 2 that don't have Mario Kart World. That is absolutely wild. Now, yes, the bundle, most of the bundles out there are Mario Kart World. Most people want Mario Kart World because it is a quintessential multiplayer, local, family game, friends, all that. It's pretty much timeless. You can always play it. It's going to just be around for a long time, regardless of what people say on the internet. Mario Kart World is going to be around, and it's going to transform throughout the life of the Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes down to content, when it comes to what they do. They're going to be supporting this game for a long time. It is a slow burn game. Ask Mario Kart 8 when that first launched on the Wii U compared to how it is right now at this point. There's just so much more they've done over the last decade with that game. So I can see the same thing with Mario Kart World overall, and these incredibly strong sales pretty much all but confirms it is going to be a staple. Although it's going to be interesting to see how it sells after the bundles kind of phase out and it's more of the Pokemon Legends ZA bundle and whatever else they decide to do for 2026. And I think they'll probably bring the bundle back for holidays like they did with the Nintendo Switch 1, where they had the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle pretty much every single holiday. So crazy stuff overall. Now, like I stated before, this is before the Pokemon Legends ZA sales. The sales here are for the last quarter, and they do not include October. They don't include November. And we all know in October, Pokemon Legends ZA launched. Pokemon Legends ZA was huge. It sold over 6 million units now at this point and is still the #1 game on both eShops overall. And they had the Pokemon Legends ZA bundle, which was going fast at lots of places, especially in Japan, where Pokemon Legends ZA continues to tear up the sales charts overall. The game is probably going to sell well past 10 million units in its first year because it still has the holiday, it has the bundle with the Nintendo Switch 2, and people are buying it like crazy, physical and digital overall. So that is going to be a big system seller type of game for the Nintendo Switch 2. But I think that this whole sales thing that we're talking about here, like I said, it completely breaks down the narrative that you saw from a lot of these Switch 2 grifters. And I don't mean to just say it in such a way because people are allowed to have their opinions and all that, but I do think that we need to be honest about the sales numbers. We need to be honest about what's happening. And while I didn't predict 10 million units, I knew it wasn't floundering. I knew it wasn't to the point to where people have buyer's remorse all over the place and nobody's buying it and the demand for the system has been satiated like we saw with a lot of popular Switch 2 hate videos. That just wasn't the case. You can see it in the sales numbers. You can see it when it comes down to it. You can see it when it's on Amazon. It is public knowledge that the system was selling great on Amazon, that the system was moving units in inventory pretty much at all of the major locations in the hotbeds of gaming. It was public knowledge that it was selling in Japan. These are all things that we could see, that you could put out there, but you had people that were trying to sell you this false bill of goods because they don't like what Nintendo is doing, which is fine. You're allowed to critique them, but you shouldn't manipulate and shift around the sales numbers to fit whatever you want to do for your channel so you can get views. Like, I think that that's lame, it's corny, and now the sales numbers are out. There's no way to spin this. There's no way to damage control this. There is no way to spin this as negative, because if you're looking at it, it is accelerated past the Nintendo Switch 1. When it comes to Switch 1, Switch 1 took a while to get to 10 million plus units in sales. Yes, they had a bit more shortages overall, but still, the fact that some people were saying that nobody wanted the Switch 2 and was able to do this, and it's, like I said, very close, only 3 million units away from the total of the Wii U, which there were a number of people that were saying this could be a Wii U situation overall. That clearly has not happened, and once again, this is before the real brunt of what Nintendo can even do on this platform. We still have Pokemon Legends ZA that's going to be added into this at the next financial report. Kirby Air Riders, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, all launching this year. And then next year, there is a barrage of games as well from Pokemon Pokopia, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, a new Mario Tennis game as well. And that's just what we know about. There's going to be other big titles revealed as well. So that report that Nintendo upped their shipments to 25 million units, and now Nintendo's reporting that they're upping their forecast from 15 to about 19 million units or so by March. I think that that is accurate. I think they can sell another 9 million units. If they pack on another maybe 10 million units in this fall season here, they can hit that and then some. So yeah, that whole Bloomberg article about Nintendo upping the shipments, that's true, because you're going to need a lot more. If you already sold 10 million plus before the holiday push, if you're already here at this point, you're definitely going to need more Nintendo Switch 2 systems worldwide. So people are buying them at a very good clip. And like I said, man, like, people are allowed to have their opinions. People are allowed to discuss what they want to discuss. But let's not lie. Let's not manipulate. Let's not sit here and act like the system isn't doing well because you don't like it. It's doing well. It's clear. The numbers are out there. 10.36 million units in a bit under 4 months. That is absolutely remarkable, guys. It just really is. There's nothing else that you can sit here and say that it's not. And I want it to continue doing well. So we continue to get third-party developers that want to support the system. So we continue to get more developers that feel to invest into, like, let's just say non-game key cards and actual physical cartridges, because there's a lot of people that have the Nintendo Switch 2 that will buy it if you have a real physical. So these are all things that I think are going to help with it when it comes to what Nintendo Switch 2 players want. And of course, it brings a ton of money in, so Nintendo can continue to fund the beast that's the Nintendo Switch 2 with all of these games that are coming out, all the games that I talked about, the games next year, and of course games that are coming up. All of it kind of helps to get that, so we can get some of the best titles out there. So very happy to see that the Nintendo Switch 2 is doing this well. I think that this crushes any of the narratives out there when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 flopping or failing or anything like that. They're just getting going. Remember, guys, we still don't have that big new next 3D Mario game. We still don't have that big next Super Smash Brothers. We still don't have that big Gen 10 Pokemon. We still don't have that big next Animal Crossing. And let's not forget the big one here with the next Legend of Zelda game. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild sold over 55 million units combined and counting. So you bet the next big Legend of Zelda game is going to be a spectacle on a system like the Nintendo Switch 2. There are still a number of big titles that are system sellers, the biggest system sellers that we saw on the Nintendo Switch 1 that have yet to hit the Nintendo Switch 2 at this point. Nintendo's kind of used some of the other things that are big system sellers, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, those are all great. It's awesome having some of the Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild backwards compatibility, 60 FPS stuff, but there's still a lot of system sellers upcoming that can help move systems, and even stuff like Splatoon Raiders and Splatoon 4. I think those are going to be a huge tandem pack that we will see within the next year or so on the platform. So it's just getting started, like I said many times before. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to everything that we talked about with Donkey Kong Bananza, 3.5 million units, crazy on that one. Mario Kart World, that's selling nearly 10 million units by itself. Also, Switch 2 blazing at 10.36 million units. And of course, the Nintendo Switch 1 right at the cusp of becoming Nintendo's best-selling system of all time. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.